Hi everybody, it's the baseball the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2. And hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So, again, the New York Yankees just struggling. And there's a lot of talk now, starting to hear, that the Yankees don't make the postseason, that the manager could be in trouble, and the general manager could be in trouble. That's what we're hearing. Bits and pieces of people starting to sort of get really irritated with how the Yankees perform. Now, I do understand if you're watching, you're probably a Yankee fan. Why is this Met fan talking about? Well, why not? Why not? Why not? Nothing wrong with that. But a known New York Met hater, and of course a known New York Yankee hater, and that's Christopher Mad Dog Russo, had some interesting things to say about Aaron Boone, the manager of the Yankees, who he's sort of under siege a little bit. They don't really, the media's been after him. The fans are booing him. In fact, he got thrown out of a game the other day, and the fans couldn't care less. The fans could not care less. He went out, got himself thrown out of a game, and the fans didn't react to anything. I think the fans are kind of tired of his act, I suppose. Because usually when players and managers get face-to-face with an umpire, there's usually a lot of consternation and a lot of sort of energy in the ballpark, but that did not happen on Sunday. But Chris Russo, like I said, he's from WFAN. He's a known patient there. I mean, we know about him. He's a guy that's just crazy. And we're going to talk a lot about him, I think, over the next few weeks and months and many years to come. But I won't mention I have met him years ago, a couple times. Just absolutely It wasn't crazy when I met him, but he was, very surprised at what he looked like. I didn't think he looked like he did when I first met him. I never seen him on TV or any seen any pictures of it. So when I first met him, I was very surprised. Headline from Awful Announcing: Chris Russo names every MLB manager better than Aaron Boone and Yankees rant. Quote, there are a lot of managers in the sport better than Boone. Okay, let's get into this article. As the New York Yankees continue to plummet down the American League standings, more and more fans of the team have been questioning Aaron Boone's longevity as the Yankees manager, and Chris Russo did just that on Monday, coming short of outright demanding the Yankees part ways with Boone and expressing that the Yankees are clearly settling as long as Boone is calling the shots in New York. Now, we had George Steinbrenner. If the Yankee fans had George Steinbrenner, he would have been gone a long time ago. He would have been gone long before last year, and Brian Cashman would have been in trouble a long time ago. On Monday, Russo appeared on the show podcast hosted by Joel Sherman and the Scott Boras whisperer John Heyman of the New York Post. And naturally, Boone's name came up on a number of occasions throughout the podcast. When asked to give his assessment of Boone's time as manager in New York, Russo brought up Boone's shortcomings in the postseason before declaring that 7 current MLB managers are better than Boone, some of which were attainable for the Yankees this past offseason. Here's what I want to say about the Yankees. Boone has been there 8 years. He has won one World Series game, and he won the game when they were down 3-0. That's a long time as a Yankee manager to win. And let's face it, the Royals and the Guardians last year were not a gauntlet. No, they weren't. They were not getting by the 78 Red Sox. Let's be fair, when they beat the AL Central. Here's what I'll say about the Yankees. Rank Boone as a manager. Well, quote, he's not better than Cora. He's not better than Bochy. Well, of course, he's going to roll over Bochy. He brought him like 3 World Series out in San Francisco. Not better than Francona. He's not better than Dave Roberts. Not better than Torey Lovello. Not better than A.J. Hinch. He's probably not better than Craig Counsell, although postseason's been spotty. I mean, how do the Yankees have one? How do the Yankees have who's the 8th best? I mean, you guys might have him higher than I do, but I think there are 8 managers in the sport better than Boone. I mean, I'm not going to give you Schnicker because he's old. What's that mean? Bochy's older than him. What's he talking about? But he won a World Series too. There are a lot of managers in the sport better than Boone. Well, let's go run through the line. Noah Huggins, Casey Stengel, Joe McCarthy, Gil Hodges. I can go on and on. Historically, go through all the names. Better than Boone. Davey Johnson, Terry Collins, Lou Piniella, These are the Yankees. These are the New York Yankees. I know they didn't want to hire Bochy because then they'd have to list the front office and all that nonsense. Francona gets a job again. You're telling me Boone is a better manager than Terry Francona? Are you freaking crazy? How did they fire Boone if he just got to the World Series? How did Francona end up with the Reds? The Yankees put a call into Francona. Hey, Terry, we had a bad World Series. Our manager killed us in Game 1. He killed them in Game 1, guys. And Francona ends up in Cincinnati. Listen, everybody loves Boone. He's not a bad manager, but he has been there a long time with one World Series win. In my opinion, there are 7 managers in the sport better than Boone. Yeah, here he is. Here he is. One could argue that Russo is being a bit hard on Boone. After all, Russo has been comparing Boone to Miller Huggins. That's his big trope, Miller Huggins. It's always, when a manager doesn't do, oh, he's no Miller Huggins, you know. Why he uses Miller Huggins is beyond me. You know, it doesn't make any sense. But it is Russo. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't used Walter Alston, you know. You can go through all the Leo DeRocha, you know. You can go through all these old managers, you know. Who, of course, this is Miller Huggins, won 3 World Series during his time managing the Yankees nearly 100 years ago in a far less competitive era of baseball, which isn't exactly a fair comparison. Nope. No, it's not. But that's the comparison he uses. Crazy. But on the other hand, there have been plenty of very valid reasons why Boone has been critiqued extensively by media members this season. Most notably, Boone's reluctance to move off of Devin Williams as the Yankees closer, despite Williams being in the midst of a career worst season. That has come back to bite the Yankees on numerous occasions. Ultimately, Boone just signed a 2-year extension this past offseason after reaching the World Series in 2024. So unless there's real urgency shown by Yankees ownership to make a drastic move to shake things up, don't expect Boone to be let go anytime soon. But clearly, as long as the Yankees continue to flounder throughout the second half of the 2025 season, Boone's name will continue to float around the hot seat for the foreseeable future. Well, we hope so. So we can have some more content here. But, you know, Russo's crazy, you know. But he's right. I mean, all these other managers are better than him. Where's Dusty? When they hired Dusty? You know. I'm surprised he didn't mention Dusty's name. Although Dusty's really retired. I don't think he's coming back. But, you know, teams always play great for Dusty. But, you know, the thing about Boone is that he and the Yankees is that he's done a good job over the years, but they haven't gotten over the hump. And when you don't win with the Yankees, the Yankee fans get very, very grumpy, and then you got to deal with the insanity, and that's what it comes down to. All the negative Nellies come out of the woodwork, start complaining, nitpicking about every little thing. I've seen it on the Mets side. You know, people that complain all the time, just in general in life, start complaining about little things that go on in the ball, you know, during a season, and this is what you get. And then you have you know, Boone getting thrown out of games, and you know, the intensity with him is fine. Okay, but you know, sometimes with the Yankees, when you watch them, you don't see the intensity from the players. Now with the Mets, we've seen some of that intensity boiling up with the players. With Francisco Lindor was throwing his glove in the dugout. You don't see that with the Yankees. You don't see Aaron. You know, you don't see Aaron Judge. I screwed my own joke. You don't see Aaron Judge doing that. Sometimes you got to show emotion if you're a player. And a lot of times the Yankees, they don't do that. And that's a cultural thing. And that's something that happens within the Yankees. And the thing about the Yankees as well is that the problem is that they're fundamentally terrible. They don't run the bases well. They're not a good defensive club, aside from Aaron Judge. They have a weak shortstop and Anthony Volpe, and he clearly has a rabbit ears where things bother him to a point where it's affected his family in the ballpark when he's being heckled. You know, so that's it. So there are issues here besides just Aaron Boone. Okay, plus they have the issue of Giancarlo Stanton's money sitting there, and he's dysfunctional as a player. He can only hit home runs. He can't run the bases. He can't really play the field anymore. They have a first baseman who's very old. They're not put together really well. And they spent a lot of money on the starting pitching. And the problem is you got guys that are hurt. Garrett Cole got hurt. Max Fried's pitched terribly. Rendon's contract has been a disaster since he's come in here. So they've made some decisions as well from the front office, and it's percolated, and it's just not a well-constructed team, in my opinion. So, unless they start doing some things differently, you're going to see the same result here. But that's my opinion. You let me know what you think about it in the comment section. And, of course, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut 2. I'll see you later.